Well guys, here we are. I had to put this one loader frame on there so I could get the darn hoses on there so I did hit the pump, screw the pump up. Well, we've had the key on for a little bit here. I haven't started it yet. I've been letting the electric lift pump there. I had a leak there on this little line, had a hole in it here on this bleed line. So we got that fixed. Just cut the end off about a 1/4 inch, stuck it back on there. Well, I've got oil in it. I don't have any water in it yet. I just want to see. This one here makes me nervous. It's the first time I've ever went through one of these, and I just hope I didn't make a mistake. It's been quite another chaotic day for me. Okay, where is there an oil pressure gauge in this thing? There is no oil pressure gauge in it. I guess I gotta move some of this stuff. Well, there's an idiot light. What about all this shit over here? What's all this shit do? I have no idea. Alright. Let's see if it'll turn over. Alright, let it sit for a little bit. My phone's ringing. Somebody's trying to call me. Alright, let's see what happens. We let the starter settle down for a little bit again. Come on, oil pressure light, go out. Went out. Okay. Let's look at our oil level now. She runs. I got it just a touch over full. Kind of glad to see that oil pressure light go out. I wonder if I don't see an oil pressure sensor on this thing. Another thing, I don't notice on this engine. There's no engine oil cooler. No oil cooler on a diesel engine. Unless maybe this is the cooler here. I don't know. This might be the cooler here. This filter head setup. Does water come in through all this? It might be cooled through here. I don't know. Doesn't really look like it. She runs. Yeah, okay. I'm a little bit happier than I was. A little happier than I was. Get over here in the light, see what that oil looks like. Oil looks good. Well, should we try it again? Maybe tomorrow, if I can get time, I'll get in here and get some antifreeze in it. Steps over there flopping because all the bolts are gone out of it. thumb a gauge in there and see what the pressure actually is. I gotta know what actual oil pressure is. There's no codes flashing on it. Alright, well, let's look at the oil again. See if she looks nice and... Hopefully we don't see no glitter in it, huh? Well, it looks like it's immaculate, nice and clean. I like seeing that. Get over here. The light's not very good over there. Look at that oil. I poured some John Deere 30 weight break-in oil in it. And that break-in, that John Deere's, you know, plus whatever the hell they call it, is a little bit darker looking oil than like Dello or Rotel. It's dark looking stuff, you know. It looks like it's already got some carbon in it, you know. So it'll kind of fool you a little bit. You'll think, oh man, I got a problem here with this thing. And well, so far so good. So far I'm happy. We're getting there. I think maybe tomorrow I might, hopefully I'll have the son of a gun out of here. Yeah, this came to me like this. Well, I gotta find some bolts and get back in that. So there's our idiot light for oil pressure. I half tempted to pull the about half tempted to pull the valve cover back off just to make sure that the top end of the motor is getting oil. You know, just you know, just I don't know. As much work as this dirty son of a bitch was, I just don't think it's gonna hurt one bit to check and just pop that little valve cover off the top end there and just make sure it's wet up there, you know. You don't know, you just wonder, I mean, was this new block, did I leave a plug in or something somewhere that I shouldn't, you know, I don't know. Looks like I got a leak or something. Well, it's obviously getting oil up there because that sucker's leaking. There's oil coming out of that one right there. That one's leaking, which is a good indication actually. So I gotta see what's going on with that. Unless that might have already been there, I don't know. Well, she runs, guys. I'm very, very, very happy that this sucker runs. But no, tomorrow I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna, you can get down through the top, I've done it. And you can pull those bolts right out of the middle there and pop that off of there, and we can just see if the top end's wet. Make sure it's getting oil. Verify it. I gotta hear it run one more time. no blow by at all. Well, alright guys. I'm getting closer to this thing. Didn't get as far as I wanted, you know, it's getting busy, getting really busy. I went over to Packard MX-13 and I was gonna pull the head this morning. It's got something, the valves, because number one, he had a misfire. I said something about it on the video. That he had a misfire, and then he had a seized VGT turbo. The cone was seized in the turbo, and that hosed that turbo. So I was gonna pull the head off that today, and you know, the reason it was missing is because number one, exhaust valve. I went to run the valves because we did a cylinder contribution test with the Texas unit, and it kept coming back with number one cylinder was 78%, and all the rest were 100. So I said, me and Spencer, the owner, we pulled the fuel plug just like I did over there. And I said, there's no blow by. I don't think it's a cylinder. I think we got a valve problem. Well, so I said, let me come back. I didn't have my borrowing tool for that, you know, that you run off the flywheel. I said, I'll come back with my borrowing tool in a day or two if you can wait that long. And let's just bar it over and let's see what we got, you know. So we barred it over to the number one top dead center compression. And anyhow, I went back there, and number one was the exhaust valve was tight, and you could see that somebody had already adjusted it once because all the rest had the same amount of threads sticking out the adjuster stud on the rocker. Well, by the time I got this one backed off and got it loosened up, there was still 1/4 inch, 3/8 of an inch more thread than the rest of them had. And Spencer says, you think it's the cam? I said, no, the cam would be the other way. I said, if the lobe was flat, we'd have to run the adjuster down to get the lash to get it tighter. I said, usually if it's too tight, I said, that means that the valves are sticking up too far in the head, and they've recessed and beat themselves through the seat, and they're sticking up too high. So I don't know, but then winded up working on his B model cat is what we wound up doing. And anyhow, we got the B model cat figured out. It was a misfire, and it was running rough, and it had a broke rocker shaft on the front end. And I told, he had it recently worked on by Cat, and they put pistons and liners in it, and he went, I guess he kind of went cheap is what he told me. He said he just had them do the pistons, liners, and they left the head alone. But anyway, usually when I see that on a Cat motor like that, or any rocker shaft broke, that usually means that the valves were under tension on the rockers, and somebody, instead of backing the rockers off, either when they put them and bolted the rocker shaft back down, they didn't have those rockers blocked off on the adjusters and all that tension on there. And right where what happens is on those B model Cats, the rocker shafts, you'll have on one end where the Jake, like a 346D Jake head, there's an oil feed tube that goes through, and feeds has an O-ring on the end of it. It kind of acts as a dowel too, and there's a dowel on the rocker pedestal on the other end that orientates the shaft. It keeps the shaft in the right position. So right where that oil feed went right through the shaft there, that's the weak spot because there's a hole in it, and it snapped her in two right there. So alright guys, I'm gonna call her a day. It's about 7 p.m. I'm gonna see if I can get this video put out. It's not gonna be a long video because I just wanted to show you starting this, so I'm probably not going to even completely bolt this on until I know I'm going to get an antifreeze in it, and I'm probably going to plumb a gauge into this thing somewhere. Where is a place to plumb a gauge into this thing at? I think I can over here, actually. I can come like where the turbo. I don't know. I don't know if I can get oil pressure out of one of those ports on that end or not. But I'll figure something out. I'll figure out how to get. I want to get a gauge in there and see what the actual engine oil pressure is. This thing don't even have an oil. It's an electronic engine, but there is no engine oil pressure sensor. So I mean, if you lose oil pressure on this thing, it's just going to shut down on you. That's what's going to happen. It's not shut down. It won't shut down off. You know, or if it had an oil pressure sensor and the ECU saw it for a certain amount of time, like most engines are set up, they're electronic. It will shut the engine down, so it doesn't smoke the engine, you know, burn it up. But this one doesn't. I don't remember when I put it together. I don't remember an engine oil pressure sensor on it anywhere. I might be wrong. You never know. There's a sensor there in the head, but that's like coolant. It's a 2-wire coolant temp sensor, cylinder head temperature sensor, or something of that nature. But I don't remember seeing like a 3-wire engine oil pressure sensor anywhere on it when I put it together. I don't remember seeing that. I mean, that's the idiot light right there. That's the engine oil pressure switch. I could just say the hell with the idiot light, I guess, and I could probably plumb a gauge into that right there. That's probably what I could do. Yeah, that's probably what we'll do. We'll just pull that back out of there. We'll plumb a gauge into that, and we'll see what our actual oil pressure is when it's cold, and once it gets up to operating temp. We'll get some, we'll pour straight water in it at first, just to make sure we don't have any leaks, so we're not wasting antifreeze. And all right, well, hopefully this one turns out good. So far, so good. You know, I've rebuilt. I'm trying to think. I had a couple air compressors that I did Kubotas in. They had the same block setup. V2403. Stacy Young had one. So this is the 4th Kubota engine now that I've done. So this one here was definitely way more of a challenge the way it was done. You know, I don't know. They're pretty. It's pretty similar to all the rest of them, to be honest with you. So, all right, guys. She's a runner.